Dear viewers, today I want to share with you a touching story about love and perseverance. James, a humble CEO with a big heart, is quietly building $1 million house for Diep, the woman he loves. After many hardships, especially the recent devastating flood, this house is not just a shelter from the rain and sun, but a symbol of hope, safety, and a new beginning for them both. Meanwhile, Diep is still working hard on her old farm, bravely enduring the pain but longing for a real home, a place where she can truly feel peace. James understands this and patiently builds every brick with all his heart, hoping that one day Diep will recognize and embrace his love. If you enjoy sincere, moving, and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to follow my latest videos. Thank you all for your continued support and companionship. See you in the next videos. There are kinds of love that need no words, no candlelit dinners, no expensive gifts to prove their worth. Some loves are shown through calloused hands, beads of sweat under the scorching sun, and silent patience in moments no one ever sees. That is the kind of love James has for Diep, not dazzling like fireworks, but quiet and enduring like a flame that never goes out. After the fierce flood, the entire village was left buried in mud and ruins. The old house where Diep grew up couldn't escape the destruction. Everything around her was broken, landscapes, memories, and a part of her spirit. Yet James saw through her strong exterior. Inside her was a heart that had cracked, a soul longing for something simple, a place to belong, a true home, not just to shield her from the rain but to shelter the pain she carried inside. And so James began to build. Without announcement. Without promises. He didn't need Diep's permission, nor her gratitude. He just needed to do it, to build her a house. Not a project to boast about, and certainly not a way to buy her love. It was a gift from his heart, a physical expression of all the feelings he had never dared to speak aloud. Every brick laid, every window frame installed, every time he mixed and poured the concrete, it all carried a piece of him. He wasn't just building a structure, he was creating a dream. A dream of peace, of laughter, of rainy afternoons where Diep could sit by the window reading a book, sipping warm tea, and knowing that no matter how chaotic the world outside, this house would always be her haven. James isn't a man of many words. He doesn't write love letters or send long texts. He shows up, through work, through presence, through the kind of silence that holds love deeper than any phrase could express. People often say, a man who truly loves you is the one who thinks of you even when you're not watching. And James is exactly that kind of man. While the village was still recovering, and while Diep was repairing fences and gardens with her bare hands, just a few kilometers away, a new roof was rising, quietly, steadily, built by James' own hands. In his heart, this house was never just a shelter. It was a symbol of a new beginning. A place where two people who had both been hurt, who had both lost something, could start again, building from the foundation of trust, walls made of compassion, and a roof that held up their shared hopes. A place that no flood could destroy, no memory could haunt forever. A place just for Diep, the woman he loves with a sincerity and quiet persistence that is rare in this world. In a chaotic world, it's hard to find a love this calm yet this profound. Sometimes, it's the quiet gestures that speak the loudest. The house James is building for Diep is not just a material gift. It is an unspoken confession, a silent promise, a home constructed with his heart, the most precious thing he could ever offer her. On the soggy ground left behind by the flood, where the wild grass had yet to grow back, the first bricks were carefully laid. James wasn't just building a house, he was placing every heartbeat of his into it. Every morning, before the sun rose, he was already at the construction site, shirt damp with morning dew, hands covered in cement dust and lime. He didn't need anyone to notice, nor did he expect praise. He simply did what he felt he had to, for the woman he loved. When the roof of the first floor was poured, everyone thought James would finally take a moment to relax. But he only nodded quietly, then slowly walked around the unfinished house, brushing his fingers along the rough walls as if listening to its heartbeat. It wasn't the inspection of an engineer, it was the tenderness of someone pouring his deepest affection into every detail. A misaligned brick, a loose nail, they all troubled him. Not because of aesthetics, but because he wanted everything to be secure and strong, so that when Diep stepped inside, she would never have to worry about a thing. He imagined the house when it would finally be complete, wide open windows catching the breeze, light curtains swaying gently in the afternoon stillness, the kitchen filled with the scent of freshly baked bread, and on the porch, Diep, smiling at the stray cats she could never turn away. Every hammer he swung, every plank he lifted was filled with that image, a peaceful life he wanted to give her, not grand or showy, just quietly joyful. To outsiders, this might seem like just a simple house, but to James, it was a journey of love and patience. He didn't count the money he spent or remember how many other projects he put on hold. He only recalled the sleepless nights worrying that rain might delay progress, the scorching afternoons spent measuring walls in silence. He remembered the relief he felt when the second floor's roof was poured, not because the work was done, but because the dream was taking shape. What made it all even more special was that Diep still had no idea. She continued living at the old farm, waking early to tend the fields, stopping by the market to buy vegetables, smiling politely at light-hearted chatter with the neighbors. She was strong, independent, and perhaps that strength made her keep her heart guarded. But James wasn't disheartened. He understood, to love someone who has been hurt before requires time. And he had all the time and patience in the world to love her gently, from afar, quietly, and steadfastly. Sometimes he wondered if Diep could sense his feelings through those silent gestures. Maybe when the rain came and someone held an umbrella for her, did she think of him? When she noticed the repaired fence or the cleared garden, did she know it was him, always quietly watching over her? No one answered these questions, yet James kept going, kept building, kept dreaming, kept hoping. Because to him, love isn't about demanding. Love is about giving, without condition. While Jane quietly built each wall and laid every tile for their home, Diep remained unaware of what was unfolding. She returned to the old farm, a place full of memories, once their sanctuary, now marked by the aftermath of the flood. Broken fences, muddy patches of earth, and an emptiness that crept quietly into her heart. Yet, Diep kept moving forward. Each morning, she rose early, rolled up her sleeves, and cleared every corner, rebuilding piece by piece as if staying busy could keep her heart from feeling the pain. Those around her admired her strength and independence, seeing a woman who didn't need anyone's protection. She continued her daily routine, visiting the market with a smile, exchanging light-hearted conversations with the vendors. But no one saw her roughened hands or the moments when her eyes drifted into the distance, as if listening to something far away. Perhaps she was listening to her own heart, quietly harboring a simple yet deep longing to have a place to rest, a home that sheltered not only from the weather but also embraced all her wounds and weariness. Jane watched her from afar. He knew every small habit, how she carefully picked up each fallen vegetable at the market, how her eyes brightened at the sound of morning birdsong, and the forced smiles she wore to hide the loneliness within. He wasn't angry that she hadn't asked about the house or visited the site where their new home was taking shape. He understood that to trust again, to open her heart to love, Diep needed time. And he was ready to love her with all the patience in the world, gently, quietly, and steadfastly. So Jane chose to show his love through patience, without pressure or grand promises. Just silent acts, a sturdy wall against the floods, a window frame that welcomed sunlight, a porch where she could sit and listen to the rain without feeling cold. He wasn't building just a house, but a small world, a place where Diep didn't have to be strong all the time, where she could smile without hiding tears, where her heart could be loved tenderly and securely. He dreamed of the moment she would walk through that door, not just to live there, but to truly feel that someone had given his youth and heart waiting for her, caring for her in every small detail. This person didn't need thanks or swift words of love in return. He only hoped she would see that love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a home built from quiet, persistent sacrifices, steady and profound. Jane wasn't perfect, nor wealthy, nor skilled with flowery words. But every drop of sweat that fell to the ground, every callus on his hands, every sleepless night worrying about progress, these were undeniable proofs of true love. That love didn't need recognition from others, it only needed Diep to notice. Because for him, the day she trusted enough to lean on his shoulder, to call that place home, every hardship would have been worth it. Sometimes love doesn't come from promises but from the patient repetition of someone who is always there, never leaving, never turning away, simply silently doing everything so the person they love can have a peaceful life. And Jane was that kind of person, not needing to be remembered as a hero, just wanting to be present in Diep's life as a man who loves her with all his heart. And one day, when Diep pauses before that house, placing her hand on the fresh wooden door still smelling of new wood, perhaps she will understand that this home is not just a place to return to, but a silent promise. No matter how many storms life brings, I will always be here, waiting for you to come home.